So we need to have an evaluation session. So our general evaluator today is Amanda. Amanda also helped our club for so many times. So everyone, please cordially welcome Amanda.
Thank you, Justin. Now, for those of you who are new to Toastmasters, let me give you a brief introduction on what evaluation session is. Now, in Toastmasters, as Justin has mentioned, we don't have teachers who judge us on how we perform. We have evaluators who observe our performance, give us useful feedbacks that we can take and improve on our next speech. Now, the evaluation session is divided into 3 parts, namely my own general evaluation, how I observed the entire meeting. The second part is the individual evaluation session where we have 3 speakers today, so we'll have 3 individual evaluators who will give them some observations, feedbacks on how they performed on the stage while delivering their speech. And lastly, we'll have the language evaluation session where somebody is taking notes on the grammatical usage or the grammars that we use throughout the entire meeting. What are the words that we can improve on, what are the sentence structures, and how we can make them better. Now, for our first individual evaluator, who is going to evaluate Andrew Lee's level 1 speech in his pathway program, is a member from Hsinchu Toastmasters who came all the way from Hsinchu despite of the rain today. So he is still a member of Hsinchu Toastmasters, and he's been a member for more than 4 years. And when I asked him about the theme meeting, soulmate, well, his soulmate is different from the rest of the group here. He has a group of soulmates.
Wow! Too
And
greedy.
he spends
So lucky.
his valuable weekends with his
Soulmate
group
tank.
of soulmates
So many tank.
because he shares the same interest with them. And so probably you're asking how come you have so many female soulmates and male soulmates. And so his group of soulmates are his members from Hsinchu Toastmasters Club. Now, to evaluate Andrew Lee's C1 speech, let's welcome our first individual evaluator, Peter Lin.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Peter, and I come from Hsinchu Toastmaster Club. Yeah, and thank you for inviting me to evaluate Andrew's speech today. Yeah, and the first thing I want to say is congratulations, Andrew. Finally, you delivered your first speech, which is icebreaker in CHB Club. Yeah, and from your speech, I can see something in you. And your speech, I was impressed by your speech for 2 reasons. Firstly, your structure was very clear. In your beginning, in the opening, you told us 2 things. The first one is your career change. Originally, you are an IT engineer, and then you change your career to a banker. And the second thing is your interests, which is traveling. Yeah, and I was very surprised that you have the time and money to go abroad for 150 days. In my past 3 years life experience, I didn't have the chance. Yeah. And the second thing you impressed me is your confidence, because it's very difficult, very hard, not holding a note during the first speech in Toastmasters. Yeah. So from your facial expression and from your confidence, I knew you are a rising star of CHB Toastmaster Club. And as your evaluator, I do have some humble suggestions I want to share with you. The first one is you can build up some more connection with your audience. For example, you can have better eye contact. I noticed you only look at those people in front of you, and if you want to build up more connection, with your audience, maybe you can have better coverage. Yeah, for example, you can walk here and look at the handsome boy, and then you can move to the left-hand side and look at the beautiful girl. If you can do so, I believe your audience will feel more engaged with your speech. And the second thing you can do is to ask questions. For example, since you are talking traveling, your traveling experience, and I believe everyone here like traveling and they have less or more experience about traveling. So maybe in the beginning of your speech, you can ask, does anyone here like traveling? And I believe your supportive members will give you a positive answer. Yeah. And then you can follow by the second questions. Do you have the chance to go abroad for 150 days? And I believe only few people have the money and the chance. But you can grab their attention immediately, and I believe everyone will go with you from the very beginning of your speech. Oh no, from your first speech this morning, I can see something in you, a potential of a great speaker in the near future, and just trying to have more interaction with your audience. For example, eye contact or better stage use, and I believe you can join the speech contest and win the first prize in your division very soon. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Peter. So Peter has just demonstrated on how to do an evaluation. So in an evaluation, you want to be as much as possible positive and give encouragements, and at the same time, put in some things that he can improve on for his next speech. Now, I think Peter has delivered a great feedback for Andrew today. I'll explain more later on what he did well. Now, for our next individual evaluator is your very own ex-president, past president. And when I asked him about his soulmate, well, his soulmate is his wife, as he mentioned in his table topics answer, because he thinks that his wife knows all of his strengths and weaknesses, and his wife appreciates him a lot. And he thinks that through thick and thin, he appreciates his wife for being there most of the time. So let's welcome our second individual evaluator who's going to evaluate Yu Long Li's speech is Eric Wu.
In Toastmasters, speaker is our teacher, and we as a student. Speaker teach us how to have a good speech. Usually, good speech has three elements. The first one is clarity, and the second one is engagement, and the third one is stories. Yu Long Li, your speech have three of them. For clarity, you have a good opening. I still remember the sentence. The first sentence you said, life is a page of history. This very important and useful sentence immediately grab our attention. Oh, you want to say something about a history. So it's a good opening. And for your body, the passion in your speech accumulates word by word. We can feel the passion in line with your words. Like the history book given by your school teacher, and also how history related to your video game. probably this is third time I heard about your speech. Your speech have a very interesting topic. No matter what content you deliver, there is always the whole and important topic, video game. All the things related to your video game. So it's a good thing. And the third part of your body is talk about your family. We all have families. We all love to listen to stories. So you talk about how history interact with your wives. It's a good one. And in the following, I'm gonna share some improvements I think you can improve. For vocal variety, in Chinese, English word, we tend to say in a tone like a very kind of flat tone. But in your speech, you have high and low. High will be in the history related to your video game. And low will be something debate, like some debates with your wife. You can use your vocal variety to express, oh, this history related to my video game. I feel so excited about it, but still some like depressed with my wife when talking about the history. And I don't like her following the 延禧攻略, right? And I like the way I do my video game with related to the history. So overall, you have a very good content and very good opening, body, and conclusion. Maybe next time you can don't use your microphone and free your hand and also use hand gestures. And, so I'm looking forward to your speech. You don't leave. Thank you.
Thank you, Eric. And from your evaluation, I noticed that you really put your heart and care for your members. I mean, despite that you've been, you're the past president, you still remember your members' previous speech, and I think that's one important element in serving as a leader is remembering what your members have previously done and being able to see the progress that they've made throughout their Toastmasters journey. Now, our third individual evaluator is going to evaluate Leo Xu's, again, C1 speech. And he is a member of this club, and despite being a starter himself in Toastmasters, he has taken upon this challenge and served as individual evaluator. And when I asked him about his answer towards the theme soulmate, his soulmate is his wife. Why? Because they share the common interest, like watching movies together or traveling together. Now, let's welcome our third individual evaluator, James Wong.
Okay.
Just open it. Close it.
I do. Okay. Well, congratulations, Leo. You completed your second speech, right?
Yes.
Yes. And I first heard from Jamie that you're going to talk about gardening. The first thing I do is to Google it because it is a rather unfamiliar subject for most of the people who grew up in the cities, right? And the one thing I remember that I had done before that has something to do with gardening is that I bought a mushroom growing kit a few years ago, and you only have to watering it once a day for about 2 weeks, and you can get your mushrooms to eat. And so it is a rather unfamiliar subject. So it is hard for you to explain or introduce to the audience. And so I am very glad that you bring your picture pen, I remember. That's correct. And it's kind of a visual aid for the audience to make people to know what you're doing or the plants that you grow. So that is good. But when the day before, yesterday, I stayed behind my desk and I'm trying to imagine that what kind of plant you're growing today. And if you bring flowers, I imagine, I'm picturing you to be a caring man with a big heart. But today you bring insect-eating predators. And so I believe that inside of you, maybe you're being very wild inside of you, right? I just guessing. So, and let's talk about your performance on the stage, and maybe you can try to. My suggestion is that if you can prepare your speech more at home. For me, I often practice my speech at home and using a camera to record what I said and try to watch what I perform on stage to control the time and watch if I have gestures is good or bad. Okay. And one thing I can suggest you is that I know it's raining today, and the better that we avoid to wear slippers on stage. Okay, so thank you. That's all.
First evaluation?
Yes.
First evaluation,
Whoa.
people. First evaluation. It's very hard, but you know, you want to encourage him. Is that your encouragement? Is that it? Is that it? Thank you so much for taking the hint. Now, before I move on to the language evaluation, let me just quickly grab the app counter and the timer's count, please. So, prepared speaker timer for Andrew.
4 minutes 48 seconds.
4 minutes, 48 seconds.
5 minutes 25 seconds. 7 minutes 19.
7 minutes, 19 seconds.
4 1.
Sorry?
Tabletop. First one, go turn. 41 seconds. 2 minutes and 27. 2 minutes and 45. 1 minute and 39. 1 minute and 24. Teacher. 4 minutes and 5 seconds. Eric. 4 minutes and 21 seconds. 3 minutes and 10 seconds.
Thank you. Now, this is where you see who are the senior members and who are the new members. You know, but the more time you spend in Toastmasters, the more that you tend to go over time. Now, for
That's
the
true.
app counter, please. Let's
Okay.
have the app counter report.
Okay. Andrew is 7. Wilong 5. Leo 8. Alright, Peter 7. Eric 4. James 7. Dalton 6. Carol 1. Mike 2. Harry 2. Victor 4.
Thank you so much, app counter and timer. Now, for those of you who are new to Toastmasters, why do we have this counting, the timing rules and the ad counting rules? Well, most importantly, is when translated into the real world, when you report to your superiors, you don't have that much time. You don't have the luxury of time to get your message across. So what we train here in Toastmasters is to deliver your important message effectively within a certain time limit. So this is what we are training here in Toastmasters. As for the ad counting, this helps people to eliminate, or at least practice eliminating the filler words, like so that's because sometimes when you use filler words, your credibility diminishes. So it's important that when you deliver your message across, be clear, be concise, be straightforward. Okay? So moving on, we have our language evaluation, and today's language evaluation is a member from my mother club, and I can see that she's very eager. She's an earnest learner. She's been learning English for several years, and she actually hired someone from she enrolled in an online learning class called Ingu, and she wakes up 5 o'clock in the morning just to attend that class. And so that's her dedication. You can see how much she's dedicated towards learning the language. And she's really good. She's really fluent in English. So when I asked, no, she already delivered she already shared her theme answer. So let's welcome our language evaluator for the day, Elaine Xu.
Hello everyone, I'm going to do my language evaluator in 3 different parts. The first is the good usages or words that we can learn, and the second and third part are the grammar or pronunciation that we can pay attention to. And first is the good usages, and the first sentence is the sentence that I like the most today. This is something that I myself won't say normally. I'm gonna convince you why this is the case. This is from our keynote speaker today. And the next one is it's time for us to get to know each other. So besides know someone, you can get to know someone. And there are many ups and downs in our lives. The Chinese expression is basically the same. And next one is to fulfill the military service. So we might know military service because most of you, all of you, your English are quite good, but the verb, I didn't know. So today I learned something from Justin. The verb is to fulfill.
Yeah.
And the word mortgage, this might be because you are all bankers, so you might be very familiar with this word. But about the spelling, I don't know if you know. There's a T, but it's silent, so it's mortgage. And to see eye to eye with another person means to agree with that person. And something comes in handy means something can be useful. And the word plateau, the spelling might be difficult, so I put that for you to check for reference. And someone said to enlarge your living circle. This is also a new expression, but it might be a little bit Chinglish, so I checked. So maybe you can skip living, you can just say to enlarge our circle. And before I came up, I heard a beautiful expression. He's a caring man with a big heart. That's also something we can learn from. And the next part is pronunciation. So this is one of the reasons why I like English, because the pronunciation can be very interesting. So for the first one, mentor. It's OR, but it's pronounced as OR, mentor. But the next 2 words, effort and verb, they are not effort or word. And seminar, although it's AR, but it's not seminar, but seminar. These are interesting that I usually pay attention to. And the next one is long vowel. Taiwanese learners usually don't pay enough attention to long vowels. So I wrote down some that people mentioned today. Soulmate, roommate, related, 5 minutes break, icebreaker, evaluate, engage, or engagement. Sometimes we pronounce it too shortly. And next one is minimum time requirement. I heard this many times. People say minimum time requirement, but I checked minima is the plural form of minimum as a noun. But minimum here, I think it should be an adjective, so minimum time requirement. And your time is up. Time. Sometimes we forget to pronounce the M well. Time is up. And someone said Australia, and I wasn't sure, so I checked, and it should be Australia. Okay. And the next part is grammar that we can pay attention to. He came to our Taipei head office to sharing his experiences. To share, I think this part most of us understand. And Taipei head office, I wasn't sure about the expression, so I checked. And maybe it's better to say head office Taipei or head office in Taipei. And the second one, thanks Justin posted the interesting news for us. It's also weird, so I checked. My recommendation would be, I want to thank Justin for doing something. Or when you talk directly to Justin, you can say, thank you, Justin, for doing something. And he tried to make me happy every day. He tries or tried. Don't forget the tense. Someone said, what will you benefit? This is also a little bit strange, so I checked, and my recommendation would be, what benefit would you get? So benefit here is a noun, but noun. Or you can use it as a verb. What will you benefit from the process? I'm so surprised, not I'm surprising. If you are surprising, like you are full of surprise and you surprise people. And I brought it here today. You don't have to say I brought it to here. It is difficult to hold on. You need a to after you hold on to something. And the last one is we are pressed for time. We are pressing time. I know maybe you want to say we're in a hurry. We're out of time.
I
or we
learned
don't have
pressing
time.
time from Toy. Yeah.
Really?
Yes.
We are pressing time? Okay. This is a new thing for me, so maybe later on I can check with
Okay,
you.
no problem.
Yeah. And that's all for today's language evaluation. I hope you like it. Thank you.
For sure, at least me, I like it. I like the way that you have a very clear explanation, and I love that you have a presentation file, or at least you have placed it in a Word file so that everyone can clearly see the grammatical mistakes that we've made, or the pronunciation, the part that we have missed in our pronunciation. Now, we have a very limited time. We're pressing time.
Yeah, pressing time.
So, just give me 3 minutes, okay? So, moving on, it's my general evaluation. So, what I would do is observe the entire meeting. So, post-meeting, before we began our meeting, I love the way that the fact that our officers came in early and set up the entire meeting room. I saw their dedication. 9:30, they're already here. They're setting up the stage. They're testing the mics. They are preparing the nameplates and the plaques. I love that. I mean, the success of a club largely depends on the dedication of the club officers. So good job, officers. For the members, please give your officers a big round of applause and encouragement. Good job. I also love the fact that all of the speakers today have presented their speeches in a different variety of topics. That is the beauty of Toastmasters, is you can deliver any topics you want, and it brings a variety. You learn not only public speaking here, but you also learn different subjects because you meet different people from different walks of life. Now, I also love the workshop that Field
Yeah.
delivered today. It's very useful for us and definitely informative. I love the structure as well. It's very clear. Also, moving on, I also love the table topics as question today. It's relevant to the meeting theme, and yet it's still there's some depth in your question. It's really thought provoking, and I love the way that you have crafted your questions. Very clear. Now, the individual evaluators, all three individual evaluators, delivered a constructive feedback. What do I mean by constructive? It's very specific. It's eye contact, body language, gestures, stage presence. So those are some of the things that you can put or incorporate in your speech so that it adds an impact when you deliver the message. Now, for the language evaluation, again, exceptional. I love the fact that you have taken the time to type it down. Now, for some of the improvements that we can make is, first of all, I know that our president is absent today, so perhaps an introduction of our president is Kara, and she has some agenda today. She couldn't make it to the meeting, so I'm serving as the acting president. Now, for the Toastmasters introduction, I love the introduction. I love that you have PowerPoint slides to explain everything. I think that's the duty of a Toastmasters of the day, right?
Yeah.
So you're taking his job. so that's something that the Toastmasters of the day can prepare instead of the acting president. Now, I think that the introduction of the assignment takers can be improved. Well, it's not just here's our next speaker, he's going to deliver the speech title and the time duration. Give it a little bit more background so that when the speaker comes onto the stage, the audience is already warmed up, and also they know what to look out for when he's going to deliver the speech. Like, for example, the speech objective. I don't have any idea of what the speech objective is. Now, lastly, the announcement. I think the announcement can be placed before the intermission, so that, because having the announcement in front at the start of the meeting tends to devoid people of their attention, because you want to start the meeting with an impact, with a big wow. So you want to start off with some of the most interesting parts of the meeting. Now, lastly, I salute you all for coming here despite the rain. Last night, I was looking at the news and there's flood everywhere, and I was waiting for Justin to say, the Toastmasters meeting is going to be suspended tomorrow because of and yet there wasn't any news. So I think that's a Toastmasters spirit. Rain or shine, the Toastmasters meeting must go on.
Yeah.
So congratulations to you all. Give yourself a pat in the back for coming here, and let's welcome back our Toastmasters of the day.
Okay.
So let's proceed to the last session, Ballot and Advanced session. So let's welcome our Ballot Master, Elise.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, everyone.
And I really love this part because it's time for us to show how much we love